what you're gonna say. I can't believe what you're alluding to, Max. Let it out. Let it out. What are you trying to say?
He is going. This is my hot take. You just calm down. He is a great, great fighter. A good big man doesn't beat a great little man. It takes something more than a good big man to do that, and Lopez is more than just good.
Punches are not made, they are born. And this guy, Lopez, was born to punch. And he's got one other thing going for him, Steven and Max. He reminds me of Pacquiao, Lopez, in a way, not just with power in either hand, but his closing step, his ability to explode. You know, kind of like an athlete in football, basketball, any of those sports where it's not about running a 40. It's about the quickness. It's about the closing step, the burst. He's got that burst. Not everybody's got that burst.
Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman are going at it over this massive lightweight showdown between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. The debate's getting heated, with both sides breaking down everything from technical skills to knockout power to who's got the better resume.
New York City, January 31st, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. I always say it, when boxing gets it right, no other sport comes close. And this is boxing getting it right. The best fighting the best. Both fighters believe that this matchup settles the argument about who leads the new era. So what do we think of the Styles matchup, guys? This is a high-speed chess match a la Sugar Ray Leonard or Pernell Whitaker, Leonard and Benitez, or yes. Pernell Whitaker, Buddy McGirt, or is it a Jerry versus Jerry fight?
Smith can't stop talking about how incredible Lopez looks when he's slipping punches. The guy's reflexes are just insane, and watching him work in those tight pocket exchanges is something else entirely.
Sure, to show the world that at 23 years of age, I'm a champion, and you're going to have to come take this from me. I'm not giving you a damn thing. I loved his quickness. We know about Lopez's power, but I'm talking about his quickness defensively. But I saw Lopez being elusive, and I love that because it's one thing for you to have the power and the quickness to go along with the power offensively. A lot of guys can look good until they get hit. There were times where he got hit, and there were other times where he was slipping.
Smith keeps coming back to one thing about Lopez that really stands out. This dude shows up when the lights are brightest. He's never backed down from elite competition, and that beatdown he put on Lomachenko proved he belongs with the absolute best in the division.
Billy Lomachenko.
And we all know that Lomachenko's footwork is exceptional. It's practically unrivaled. So you could see what he's done to numerous fighters, which contributed to them quitting, like Nicholas Walters and others. He tried that with Lopez. It didn't work. Lopez's footwork worked. His speed was there. Some power, obviously. But his elusivity is what impressed me most. The fact that he was able to slip a number, not all, but a number of those pitches.
He wouldn't let Lomachenko establish his outside foot.
And I loved it.
Yeah, for me, coming into this fight, obviously I always talk to Max about fighting. I love it. I was thinking, and Lopez mentioned it pre-fight, everybody thought it was going to be very Mayweather-Canelo when they fought, and that he would be outclassed. If you look at the first 6 rounds, it was about patience. He was patient. He didn't rush himself. He used his jab, which is something that we aren't used to seeing him do.
Then Teddy Atlas jumps into the conversation with Smith and Kellerman, dropping some serious knowledge about what Lopez is really up against here. Atlas is convinced that going up against someone who might be the best pound-for-pound fighter alive is a completely different animal. He's breaking it down that Stevenson's fundamentals are so clean and polished that Lopez can't just rely on being athletic. When you're facing that level of technical perfection, you need way more than just physical gifts.
What challenge lies ahead for Lopez this upcoming weekend?
What challenge? The challenge of fighting for me, my estimation, the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Either him or Crawford. You choose it, it doesn't matter. You can flip-flop either one of them. They're the 2 top guys. The challenge is to get his bomb to the target. Yeah, like Customano, my mentor, used to say, Teddy, having power is great. But if you don't have a means to get it to the target, it has no value. It's like a military weapon, he used to say. If you don't have a missile, it just blows up and makes a big hole in the ground. So that's the challenge. Get it to the target. Get it to the chin or the body. it might be a good idea with a guy who moves his head so much, but get it to the target with Lomachenko. So keep yourself together mentally with all that going on, with all the chaos stuff coming at you, and don't get discouraged. Don't get frustrated if he's hard to hit.
Kellerman won't let up on this point about Stevenson's fighting style. He's not just beating guys, he's completely shutting them down. The way he controls distance, moves his feet, and sees everything coming before it happens means he's running the show from bell to bell.
Shakur is one of those guys and who comes along, and I think this is really the question about him. I said he is one of those. Is he one of those guys? Like Purnell, like Roy, like Floyd, their defenses were so good, and they boxed in a way where they weren't going to take unnecessary risks. They weren't running and holding. You know, I had a problem with the second half of the Haney-Norman fight because I felt like they continue to box. Purnell did, Roy did, and Shakur does now, right? But when a guy has those advantages in boxing skill and speed, and they don't take risks, they are almost impossible to beat. So no matter who Purnell was fighting, no matter who Roy was fighting, if someone would have asked me who they're going to be, they're fighting Godzilla, Purnell. They're fighting Roy. Shakur has that look to me.
The conversation shifts when they start talking about Stevenson's limitations as a fighter. Everyone agrees both guys are incredibly talented, but Stevenson's not going to knock you out. His whole game is built around perfect technique, staying safe, and winning rounds through pure boxing intelligence rather than trying to hurt you.
Knockout power.
And the difference here is that they're both twitchy, they're both fast, they're both excellent boxers. Teo's a puncher. I know it hasn't shown up in recent fights, but we have watched both of their careers. Shakur is not a puncher.
No.
Teo is.
Teo it can be an explosive, I hit you with a shot you don't see, and you are out cold type puncher.
And talking about power, strength too. I think Teo's going to be the much stronger guy in there. Shakur Stevenson's not a strong guy.
I think he's getting stronger.
Me too.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
agree.
But this is his first fight at 140, though. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disrespecting
I
his
feel
strength.
like, but I also feel like that Shakur might surprise you, Mike, with his physical strength. Physical strength, as we all know, doesn't always translate to punching power.
Sure, of course not.
But when he was a younger fighter, he looked like he could be moved around by his opponent. It doesn't look like that anymore.
Yeah, no, he's definitely matured in his body. But first fight at 140, Teo's what? I think this is maybe his fifth fight at 140?
Yeah.
Something like that?
That's true, but Shakur has a frame where he can put on 140.
Kellerman brings up something really interesting about the mental side of this fight. Stevenson's walking in with way more pressure because everyone expects him to look perfect and keep that undefeated record intact. Lopez is in the perfect spot as the underdog where he can just let loose and swing for the fences without all that weight on his shoulders. That makes him super dangerous.
Is there an advantage there where Shakur is fighting to protect that perfect record, to protect that kind of sense that he's the next guy? On the other hand, Teo is like he can fight with more abandon against Shakur because there's so much for him to gain. And if he loses, he's lost before. He's lost to Kambosos.
Stevenson. Lopez has been talking about how much this fight means to him personally. He's viewing this as his shot to prove he deserves to be mentioned with the absolute elite pound-for-pound fighters in the entire sport.
You know, people think the fight with Teo is either going to be you delivering a masterclass
or a knockout by Teo.
Yeah, or you getting into some type of brawl with Teo and end up getting knocked out, right? What are fans getting wrong about the matchup?
I think the fans is getting wrong about the matchup is where I'm not sleeping on that I know about Teo. Teo's a good boxer. Mm-hmm. He's boxer first. Mm-hmm. So we could say, oh, he's just going to knock you out. Or he's just going to... That's not him. He's boxing first. He's going to want to establish distance and range on the outside and try to beat me up on the outside. So I think that's the main thing. And also the biggest thing that everybody don't realize with me, I can punch. Mm-hmm. Everybody say, oh, he can't punch, and then boom, crack somebody, and then they laying down or something may happen to where they hurt or something like that. So I think that's two big things.
Boxing analysts are calling this the kind of tactical chess match that could come down to who makes the smallest adjustments and who can execute their game plan when the pressure gets intense in those championship rounds.
Because I don't think that Shakur is going to come out and try to fight or take the fight to Teo in the first 6 rounds at all. So if he's fighting off the back foot, if Teo can make it so that he's convincingly, or he's convinced at least Shakur that he may have won 4 of the first 6 rounds. You know, if it's 4-2 in Shakur's mind going into the second half of the fight, or if I'm looking at him stealing those first 6 rounds, then it's an interesting fight going into the tail end, because Teo, to me, is a front runner, right? I want to see if he can carry his energy and his explosiveness late in the fight and not wear down. And then when Shakur starts to open up, you know, can you steal some of those championship rounds from him and make it like a close fight? I think if Teo comes out and does what he usually does, which is try to swarm Shakur early and keep Shakur on the defensive early, then he can try to steal a lot of those early rounds. And if he does that,
Lopez's whole approach is about coming out fast and heavy, using his explosive power in the middle distance and throwing sharp counters while applying pressure early. The big question is whether he can maintain that pace for a full 12 lengths. If his output starts dropping in the later rounds, that's exactly when Stevenson could take over and steal the fight.
If I'm looking at the first 3 rounds, first 4 rounds, and Teo looks like he's losing those rounds convincingly, then it's an easy night for Shakur, unanimous decision in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because I don't think Teo is going to bring anything late in the game, you know what I mean, to this fight. I think if he is who he's always been, you know, he's going to get gassed after like the 7th round and then take some rounds off. And when he does that, Shakur will open up and start to try to pick him apart, pot shot him, and do things like that. But this is the perfect fight, narrative-wise, for Shakur, because I've been waiting for Shakur to get into that fight where, you know, he doesn't have the fight where he doesn't have his Diego Corrales fight. You know what I mean? Where you think he's actually in danger. Shakur has been he's been outclassing everybody he's in the ring with. You know what I mean? Then the guys that you think could give him some work, like De Los Santos, I know people hate when I bring that fight up, but I want to see him actually in danger.
People inside boxing are saying fights like this are exactly what the sport desperately needs right now. Roy Jones Jr. came out and called this a pure skill versus skill battle, comparing it to dream matchups like Canelo facing Crawford. Jones believes when you get fights this good with both guys in their prime, it brings back the credibility that boxing has been missing.
We're going to start with you, Pierre. Shakur and Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson getting it on in about 3.5 weeks or something like that. Also on the undercard is Keyshawn Davis. But the main event, let's jump into the main. Tell me what you're thinking.
You got an ultimate skill fighter versus a boxer who's twitchy, and twitchy sometimes beats out skills. Sometimes that's the side that can really beat a straight up boxer to me. Somebody who's twitchy, because they don't fight, as normally as most boxers fight. They give angles, body movements, bouncing around like a Lomachenko would done, even a Crawford does. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone in the boxing world is talking about how perfect this matchup is on paper. You've got Stevenson's incredible technical skills, defense, and ring IQ going up against Lopez's explosive power, hand speed, and aggressive style. Both guys are champions. Both have star power, and both have something major to prove. When you get contrasting styles like this at the highest level, it creates the kind of anticipation that gets both casual fans and hardcore boxing people excited. These are the fights that create legendary moments and remind everyone why boxing is the greatest combat sport.
But I don't know who's going to show up what day. What Shakur showing up, or what Teo's going to show up. You get what I'm saying?
Nah, we going always Shakur going to always be Shakur. The offense that we saw from him in his last fight was just, he knew what he had in front of him, and eventually he knew that he was going to be in a position where he could have his way with the kid who was in the ring. I'm losing his name off the top of my head.
Right, I know you're talking about. But I believe he fought that way because he started hearing all the call of him running. He started saying, you know what? Let me stay in the pocket, because he stood in the pocket a lot more than he normally stood in the pocket with that fight. You know what I'm saying?
It took some unnecessary shots.
Huh?
And took unnecessary shots.
Well, okay, right. Mm-hmm. But you see what kind of fan base he got after that too. The doubters started saying, you know what? I'm gonna roll with him more, because we were getting tired of him running and skillfully beating people. That gets boring. Like Mayweather did his last 10 fights damn near.
Stevenson catches a lot of heat from fans who think his style is boring to watch, but that criticism completely misses what makes him special. His whole approach is built on perfect footwork, precise counterpunching, and defensive skills that are almost impossible to find flaws in. A lot of fans want to see constant action and knockout attempts, which just isn't how Stevenson operates. His fights look calculated and controlled because he's prioritizing strategy over putting on a show. The thing is, this methodical approach has made him nearly impossible to hit cleanly and incredibly effective against world-class opposition. It might not be the most exciting style for some people, but Stevenson's technique represents everything that's brilliant about modern boxing IQ.
I think y'all scared of Shakur.
Nobody's scared of Shakur, bro.
I think y'all be ducking
Shakur's scared of his shadow, bro. Relax,
I think y'all
bro.
be ducking Shakur.
Shakur,
right?
you see his last fight?
Come on, the fans want to see, though.
No, they don't.
Yes,
Stop hyping up Shakur.
I want to see Ryan and Shakur.
I've
Devin
not
and
heard
Shakur.
that at all.
Yeah.
I've never
You
heard
wouldn't
that.
want to see that?
I never heard
Absolutely.
that. Nobody on the street has ever been like, yo, Shakur and you would be crazy.
Who should Shakur Stevenson fight next?
I don't think he should fight at all ever again because he just puts the fans to sleep and he's not doing anything entertaining for the damn sport. Honestly, just kick him out of boxing, bro. He's horrible.
God damn.
I'm asking you this. You think Dana would put up with Shakur? He'd be the first one to get kicked out of the UFC, right or wrong?
I would say this. You're right. Dana definitely wants, because it's a promotion, it's an entertainment company.
Okay, boxing's an entertainment company too. He ain't doing the sport a favor, so kick him out.
How would that fight between him and David Haney go?
Honestly, man, if you want to get off to that, man, you better off watching like Gabe.
Amir Khan has given Stevenson major props for being one of the most technically gifted fighters in the sport today. Even though he admits the style doesn't always create fireworks for casual viewers, Stevenson's precision, defensive mastery, and ring intelligence make him extremely difficult to solve, which is what boxing is really about at its core. Khan has respect for Lopez's aggression and power too, but he understands that fans sometimes don't appreciate tactical excellence. At the championship level, making guys miss, controlling the distance, and outthinking your opponent shows true mastery. Stevenson's success against top-level competition proves there's real artistry in boxing, not just highlight reel knockouts.
What do you think about the criticism that Shakur gets? Like, people say that he's
boring and all that.
he's not entertaining.
I mean, look, he's like an Andre Ward style. Andre Ward wasn't really that entertaining, but got the win. I mean, that's what boxing is all about. So I used to love watching Andre Ward fight because it was so punch perfect. I watched his footwork, how he moved to the right, to the left, and I trained with him as well, with Virgil. And I used to watch how he trained and how he fought, and I thought how he puts his hands there and uses it as a defense, and then pulls your hands down and catches you over the top, and them little things. So this is a fight that people get, because you got two different styles. You got an offensive, defensive in Lopez, and you've got a defensive in Shakur.
Stevenson's been extremely vocal about how dialed in he is for this potential showdown with Lopez. Throughout his entire training camp, he's been talking about feeling sharper, more disciplined, and more focused than ever before. He believes fans are about to see the absolute best version of himself. His whole focus is on perfect execution rather than getting caught up in all the media hype, trusting that his skill set will be the difference when they're actually in there fighting. Stevenson respects what Lopez brings to the table in terms of athleticism and power, but he's made it crystal clear that any mistakes are going to get punished immediately. He thinks Lopez's aggressive approach will create opportunities, and he's planning to capitalize on those moments with perfect timing and precision. His confidence in his game plan is obvious, and he's determined to control every aspect of the fight while delivering a performance that eliminates any questions about where he stands in the division.
You know, your division at that time and then the one above you, but it's in a message to the fans. But I think it also did something for you to prove to yourself that, man, listen, that wasn't like my best performance, but I showed you I can get it out the mud. What did that performance kind of do for you now that you look back at it?
Honestly, I think like styles-wise, I think that Zepeda's style is the style that's supposed to give me the most trouble. Like guys that box and give me time to think is the guys that's gonna have a fit with me all night. But the guys who press me and put me against some ropes and throw a million punches, that's the style that's supposed to give me trouble. So I went out there and I prevailed against that style, and now I'm fighting against a boxer, which for me, it just makes it more fun. I don't have to deal with a guy trying to like wear me down so much.
Right. Lopez is approaching this whole situation with a completely different energy and mindset, seeing this as the career-defining moment he's been waiting for. He's feeling mentally locked in, physically at his peak, and totally confident in his preparation without getting overwhelmed by outside pressure. Lopez is actually embracing being in the spotlight because he believes these big stages are exactly where he performs his best. His approach shows real maturity and hunger that's been sharpened by everything he's been through in his career. Lopez isn't viewing this as pressure at all, but as the perfect opportunity to show everyone his complete skill set, including his speed, power, ring intelligence, and competitive fire, while reminding the boxing world why he's still one of the most dangerous fighters in any division.
You know, my mind is limitless, though. You know, so then again, it's like I could always succeed to another level with it, you know, and exceed to it. So it's really just trying to just keep it going, you know, keep moving forward throughout the whole time and throughout the whole process, and mainly just have fun with it. You know, you gotta have fun with what you do. You know, I love this. You know, I haven't stopped doing what I've done because of the fact that I enjoy what I do. You know, this has been 20 years in the making. 20 years in this, you know, and I have so much to do and so much to prove within myself. So mentally, I'm prepared. Physically, I'm more than ready, you know, and emotionally, oh, I'm on fire, you know, I'm on fire with it, you know, because all I ever did was try to be great, you know, and it's no longer trying. I am great. And it's all about just continuing and holding that. So it's all about just staying humble throughout the process, keeping myself level-headed, and really just enjoying each day that we get, because tomorrow's never promised.
If Stevenson can pull off the victory over Lopez, it would completely transform his entire career trajectory. Adding another world title is just the beginning, because beating someone with Lopez's reputation would give him the credibility and negotiating power he needs to finally make that massive fight with Gervonta Davis happen. Everyone in boxing believes that defeating a proven star like Lopez would be the final statement Stevenson needs to establish himself as the clear #1 contender, making that Davis super fight impossible to avoid.
Man, what do you say to that, bro? Like, you hear him, bro? I just can't wait to beat him and shut him up, bro. T.O. not on this level. T.O. is a high-level fighter, but he's not on my level. I'm an elite-level fighter, and come January 31st, I'm going to show it.
You've shown respect to him for his performances in the past, what he's done. He's fought guys like Lomachenko and Taylor. You say that he's not on your level. Why do you think you're on just a different level than him?
Because I seen him at his best. Against Taylor, against Lomachenko, he was at his very best. That was the best he can do. I don't think he can do nothing better than that. So
self-projection.
What I seen from that fight, I feel like I'm way better than them guys. With Lomachenko, like I said, he didn't throw punches for 6
Objection.
rounds. For 6 rounds. So if you ain't throw punches for 6 rounds and you get in front of me.
This whole thing comes down to whether Lopez's power and aggressive style will be enough to protect his championship and prove he's still the man in this division.